Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. I have a very special guest. I haven't had that many Waterford guests yet. I've mostly been kind of traveling with Zoom, which is brilliant. But now I have a really great Waterford guest, Wayne Power. Introduce yourself, even though you really don't need to.
Oh, I don't know, Rebecca. How do I introduce myself? Well, what am I? I try to be a spoken word artist. Try to be a podcaster. I'm just an all-around messer and who's just drowned on life in general. I think is what sums. I think that sums you up pretty damn well. I think. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good and I'm really drowned for this interview. I've been looking forward to it for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm. I have the whole town saying that word. It's a way of life. Drowned is a way of life. But what am I? Yeah, I'm a spoken word artist slash podcaster slash I don't know. I don't like talking about myself, Rebecca. This is terrible. A former nervous wreck and all that. Yeah, I'm all that and more.
You're all that and more. So, yeah, you have a podcast. Tell everyone the name of your podcast.
Okay, so the podcast is called Sound Up, and it's actually it's approaching a year. We're coming up to the year anniversary. The first episode aired on the 26th of April, 2019, which seems like a very long time ago. And the podcast was set up to kind of shine a light on the Waterford arts and music scene. So I'm coming up to the 20th episode, which should be out in a few weeks' time. So that'll be a Chrome Yellow special. I can't wait for that. With the lads, second time on it. So yeah, it's 20 episodes. We're 20 episodes in. It's been running since April the 26th last year, and it's like become like just a hobby really more than anything else. And like the people and the friends I've made through it, like it's just been like a really good journey, like doing it. And it's just a bit of crack, and the feedback has always been really great. So yeah, most of the Waterford music scene have been on it. There's still a few people who haven't been on it yet, including yourself. We'll get you on it because we had Eddie on before, in the previous incarnation of Viking Promotions. We've got the new one now, so we have to get you on. So yeah, I've had all the Waterford acts on it. Chrome, Freddie from Backroads, Mike Caddy, Mark Walsh holds the record for most appearances, of course. SX2, The Drive, God, Toig, Niall Power, Jack O'Rourke has been on it, Soda Blonde has been on it. Yeah, I've been Annalise. Yeah, so I've been really happy with how it's gone the last 12 months as well. It's kind of been like a happy accident because I did the radio course in WLR, and opportunities are pretty scarce. So I just thought, you know what, let's do a podcast, and let's see how it pans out. So yeah, we're coming up to a year now. So it's pretty mad now. It's been a year, yeah.
That's
A year sound up.
incredible. And I've
Mm.
actually, I'm sure that we met like over a decade ago because we hung out in really similar
Yeah,
circles, but we can't really remember each other, and that happens, right?
yeah. See, I was going to say that to you because I see you mentioned the forum a lot. Because I was a massive forum head. Shakedown on a Saturday night was my hangout. Back like 15 years ago. Showing her ages, Rebecca, showing her ages. Yeah, 15 years ago, and so we have mutual friends in common. But my shakedown posse were Deirdre Doody, Claire Anderson, Stephanie Brett, Neil Burchell, Amy English, Johnny Kelly, Ashling Brown, all of them back in the day. So yeah, when I saw you mention shit, I was like, I probably met you in the smoking area about 15 years ago, and probably had no idea who you are.
And
And then
same
I
to
met you
you.
again. Yeah. And then I met you again. I think I met you again properly. I think it was at the Annalise gig back in September. I think it was, yeah. When my Mark obsession was beginning to bloom, of course, but my relationship with Mark Walsh was beginning to bloom.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about all those obsessions because they're really important to me. But I actually had
Yeah.
heard your voice before I met you. I would have heard the Backroad Smokers interview before I even knew
Yeah.
who you were. And I definitely met you back in the day because Stephanie Brett is actually my cousin.
No way. I did not know that. Yeah, I love Stephanie. Yeah, Stephanie. I wouldn't see Stephanie that often these days, but it's funny when I see her these days. Because I remember her back in the day in the Shakedown days, and she was like a proper goth. I mean, a proper goth. Sorry, Stephanie. And now I see her, and she's like a proper mama, you know. And I'm like, I used to have some laugh with them back in the day, back in Shakedown. Yeah, Shakedown was just, it was the best venue in Waterford. You'd never get a night out now. No disrespect to any venue in Waterford at the moment, but it was just the community that was there, and everyone was just like, there was never any trouble. Everyone just kind of mixed together and knew each other, and I loved how the forum would we'd say for spree weekends, all the forum would be open, and you could be very drunk and kind of stagger around upstairs on the floor, on the bumpy floor, or then go downstairs into the dance area, into where Flytrap used to be. It was just like, oh, it was such an amazing time. Yeah, I had some of the best nights of my life in the forum. I really miss that place. Yeah, really
I,
miss it.
I do as well, and it's impossible to mention that place without the bouncy floor. And it was really weird because a few weeks ago, obviously, DJ Louis approached me and asked me to put up all the
Yeah.
mixtapes because I have them all. So part of my
Mm.
podcast is actually trying to gather all the mixtapes from the
Yeah,
forum and put
yeah.
them up online for people to listen to now.
God, I remember getting the free CDs as well, yeah. And even with Louis Quinlan, I had no idea Louis DJ'd in the forum back in the day. Because I only remember oh God, I forget his name, Tommy, I can't think of his surname. You know what I'm
Farrell?
talking about? That's him, yeah. I remember Tommy DJing. Louis, I probably would have seen Louis, but it doesn't kind of register with me from back then. But yeah, it's mad now that we're all kind of connected in this little town again. Yeah, it's great though. Yeah, yeah. Long live the forum.
Long live the forum.
Mm.
So yeah, moving on from the forum, which really has so much history for both of us, and it's strange that we didn't meet before. So we would have met at the
Yeah,
Annalise gig, that's correct. And then obviously
yeah,
you would have got to know me through Viking Promotions, and you would have got to know me
yes,
through comedy, and you would have got to know me through all these different routes that
yeah,
connect us.
yeah. It's mad. Like I said, that's the thing with Waterford, and we'd say like kind of the arts and kind of music community is pretty small, but it's pretty tight knit as well, which is good. You know, I liked that about Waterford. I liked that about when I kind of found my own footing, within the art scene, like maybe around a year ago. It's just like I said, because Waterford is so small. It's great. It's great in some regards. It can be frustrating in other regards, but for the most part, when it comes to anything, you know, arts related, like everyone kind of rolls in together. Um, you know, everyone kind of rolls in because the city is that small, really. So, you know, if something is on, you'll always try your best to get to that gig. If there's another gig on, you'll try your best to get that as well. So it's great that, like, you know, there is that in Waterford, and I think like people can kind of pick and choose where they want to go as well, and you know, so yeah. So we have a nice little community kind of built up in Waterford at the moment. I think after all of this passes, I think it'll only kind of go from strength to strength, really. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about that. Now, on your podcast, you do a game with whoever you're hosting, and I want to turn the tables on you and play
Oh
that game
yes,
with
yes.
you. So tell people
Mm.
about the game and what it's called.
So the game will be called Puck, Chuck, or Fuck. Now we haven't really played it much lately, but basically what it is it's like a Snog Marry Avoid. So puck would be a very Waterford expression to give someone a puck. Chuck is just, you know, bin him. And we all know what a fuck is. Some of us don't. Some of us are in self isolation with no idea what a fuck is. Um, and then there's somebody in self isolation that are fucking 24 hours a day, and why not? Yeah, I have a little Tupperware box. Uh, so you could get anyone from Princess Diana. You could get How Do. You might get, I don't know, who else do I have in my box? Harvey Weinstein. So it's it's not politically correct. It's just a crack, really. You know what I mean? It's just a crack. So you could get anyone, and it's just like a bit of fun, really. And most people who played it like have been they've enjoyed playing, and also it helps as well when you're interviewing someone, and if you've just met them for the first time, that breaks the ice a little bit as well when they're talking about who do you want to fuck. Out of, we'd say, Jimmy Savile, Princess Diana, and Leo Varadkar. So yeah, it does kind of help break the ice a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
I think it's a great concept. So I'm going to tie it in with one of your obsessions, which is obviously EastEnders. Okay.
yes, Yes,
So
yes,
the
yes.
three options, I need to read them because I am not a fanatic of EastEnders. But we have
Shame on you.
Ian Beale, Phil Mitchell, or Mick Carter.
Oh, they're very good choices, right? So Ian Beale, Phil Mitchell, and Mick Carter, right? It's kind of an easy one. Kind of an easy one. I would puck Ian Beale because Ian Beale is the reason that Sharon's beloved son Denny died. He was drowned. He was actually, that's how he died. He was drowned, and it was down to Ian Beale because Ian Beale locked him in. So I'm going to puck Ian Beale for that. I'm going to chuck Phil Mitchell because Phil is another reason why Denny is dead, and Phil treated Sharon like shit on Christmas Day. Now I wouldn't puck him because he's quite hard. And I would fuck Mick Carter because Danny Dyer just still has it. Danny Dyer always had it, and he still kind of has it a little bit. So yeah, I would gladly share a bed with Danny Dyer, Mick Carter. Yeah. Dum 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 dum. Yeah. With the EastEnders theme tune on in the background. Yeah.
Beautiful for the rhythm to go along with the banging.
Well, yeah. We likes a bit of rhythm. Yeah. Yeah. Just as we're about to. Yeah.
That's a good one. I used to have a playlist I used to use whenever I was about to
Oh
with someone.
Jesus Christ! What was the playlist
It's a secret playlist on my Spotify.
that you would play
It's
before you
called
came?
it's called Music to Fuck To. Yeah.
All right, right. Is Ratton really cheesy on it?
Yeah, there's a few bangers.
I'm sure there was. Look at you. Yeah, look at you. Why not? Why not? Why not?
Here we are learning things about me no one ever needed to know.
Why not? People love a good fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah.
On that obsession, obviously one of the things I like most about you or anyone who's passionate about anything is something that's mostly misunderstood, I think. A lot of people who are really passionate in life, especially in Ireland, culturally it's not really acceptable. So when you're so into a personality or a person, you can be perceived as strange or weird. Whereas I see that as
Mm.
beautiful because that's like a super fan.
Yeah.
Without a super fan, you can't exist. So you need that. So talk to us about your obsessions. Everyone knows what mine are, and I'm very open about them. But yours,
Sessions. Well, I suppose, like, yeah, obviously a lot of people would know me for the Sharon obsession for EastEnders, and that basically just started because I've been watching EastEnders since I was a kid, and I still watch it. I love it. And again, I was saying on the last episode of Sound Up, as much as I would be kind of dug into EastEnders, like most people would be dug into like something on Netflix, I still love to take the piss out of it as well. And like Sharon is a character that's very kind of camp and very kind of over the top. The storylines she's had have been very OTT, which most things are in soaps. And I just kind of clung to her from a young age. And then the older I got, and the more kind of in tune with myself, shall we say, she kind of spoke to me on a different level. Because she is a gay icon. She's Sharon Watts, Letitia Dean is a gay icon. So she's got the big hair. Like she almost kind of resembles a drag queen in a lot of ways. But it's just kind of there is a camp quality to her, and I kind of love that quality about her. The whole kind of and the pelts and all that, and you know she's very dramatic. So I find the humor in that. So she would be someone I would be kind of obsessed with, I suppose. Other obsessions. I don't know really. I think Sharon is the one I'm kind of known for. It's just kind of a bit of humor and a bit of kind of piss taking, but also admiration because she is like the British Meryl Streep, I think, and I think she's probably the greatest actress never to win an Oscar. Um, it's a shame you can't win an Oscar for EastEnders, but I think she has been cruelly overlooked. But yeah, Sharon would be a big obsession of mine. Music, I suppose, would be an obsession, really, like yourself. Like music would be an obsession. I would kind of listen to anything really. Like Sound Up primarily would be a lot of guitar bands, because it's the Waterford scene, so there would be a lot of guitar bands, and I've had the dance acts like SX2 and Ghetto Amaretto, and then I had Footage Professional there on this week's episode. So I would listen to kind of every genre of music. I suppose like back in my forum days, I was kind of because the people I hung around with, like, they had an influence on that. So, you know, I would have listened to kind of more kind of rockier stuff. But I think at heart, like, I'd be kind of a pop kid really. But I would listen to everything really. So yeah, music would be like a massive obsession. So yeah, they would be kind of the main obsessions with me really in life would be sharing off extenders and music, and I suppose writing obviously, yeah, would be, yeah, they would be the holy trinity really, yeah. And
Yeah.
wrestling.
Huh?
Mm. And wrestling.
You love wrestling?
Yes, not in the sexual connotation, you know, Rebecca, but I would be a massive wrestling fan. So I have been watching WrestleMania. I will be watching it again tonight. So that's, yeah, I will be, yeah, big wrestling fan as well, which I think a few people know that about me. But yeah, I love to wrestle. And
I
Mark,
didn't
what
know.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
did not know that about you. That's fascinating.
yeah, I love it. I've been watching, like, I watched it as a kid. I was like obsessed with it as a kid, and then I stopped watching it when I was a teenager because I got into other things, like masturbation. So, you know, so, and then when I did get kind of, when I got housebound with the agoraphobia, I switched on Sky Sports one night, and the wrestling was on, and I just kind of fell in love with it again. So I've been kind of like a big fan of that all my life. But yeah, so yeah, for the last, I'd say nearly 13 years really, I've been kind of gone back into wrestling, and watching it weekly. Um, I would have done a few articles before on it, like, to different like kind of online sites as well. So yeah, and actually I'm wearing a wrestling t-shirt. This is my March porch. This is Becky.
Ah,
No, that is not you, Rebecca. That is Becky Lynch, who's a fellow redhead from Dublin, who's literally literally like one of the biggest names in wrestling right now. And yeah, so yeah, I would be a huge wrestling fan.
I actually know who she is, and I hold incredible pride in the fact that she is the first Irish female to have a wrestling doll made for her. That's
Yes,
incredible.
that's true. Yeah, and she won last night as well. She retained. Yeah, was drowned it.
She's an
Mm.
incredible force. Like, there's so many
Mm.
beautiful stories coming out from Ireland with our wrestling scene. It's actually quite impressive.
Yeah, it is actually mad. And I was asked to do something for Phoenix Wrestling around a year ago, but it kind of fell through. But when Phoenix Wrestling come to Waterford again, I'm hoping to maybe do something in the ring, um, as in go in and kind of insult one of the wrestlers and then get out of there. But I did ask about taking a bump, as in like taking like an actual slap. But I don't know if they're unsure. But yeah, I'd be up for something like that. That'd be hilarious. Like, yeah.
I would pay to see that.
No, the live wrestling is just a different experience. Like, I haven't been to many live shows, but they were in Central Arts last April at Phoenix Wrestling, and it was just the best laugh ever. It really was fun. And then of course the other on another note, like, you see these kind of really muscly guys, but they're like literally 2 meters away from you as well, and you're like, okay. So that adds to it as well. But yeah. So if and when they come back to Waterford after all of this, I'm still going to take them up on an invitation to get into the ring and maybe just insult the wrestler, and then maybe like take a little bump. Yeah, maybe see how we get on.
You'd be like, "Hello, sailor."
Yeah. I think I'd actually enjoy it more than I'd let on. Yeah.
That's
Mm.
amazing. So one of the things I admire most about you, one of the many, but I really admire how you can write, because obviously I can't, but you have a beautiful way to write words and speak them as well. So talk about your writing journey. When did you discover that you had a passion for writing?
I would have been very young. I would have been writing like all my life. And how I got into the spoken word scene was back in November of 2018. I saw an ad on Facebook for ModWords. Anna Jordan was doing the creative writing classes, and I knew who Anna was. I'd never met her, but I knew who she was. And I thought to myself, you know what, this might be something that might help me build up a bit of confidence. And like, I've always been writing poetry all my life and tried to do short stories and stuff like that. And ModWords was the breakthrough last year. That was like the huge breakthrough. I wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for Anna really and ModWords. So I met Anna in January of 2019 in Garter Lane. Did a 6-week course, And on the first day, I gave Anna like a load of poems that I would have written years ago. And was like, you know, Anna, I'm a man on a mission this year. You know, I really want to kind of get somewhere with the writing. And she then asked me to do my first ModWords gig for the Valentine's ModWords last year. And like I would never have performed poetry in public, or you know, I wasn't kind of I didn't really know that that was a thing that you could do. I knew what spoken word was, but I didn't know there was a scene as such. I knew about ModWords a little bit. And I did 3 poems that night. I did one. My first poem I did was called 60 Minutes, which is about how Walford doesn't have cardiac care. And then I did a kind of really kind of romantic, sappy one because Valentine's Day was the night before. So I did a kind of one called Jukebox, which kind of references all my favorite love songs. And then I did Sharon off EastEnders, which has become a kind of a popular poem. So I haven't looked back since then. I really haven't looked back since then. I'm just kind of this is like literally what I want to do, and I'm writing the whole time. It just kind of kicked off everything with me creatively. So I would have I still write obviously every day, but when I started ModWords, it was just like right. I get so excited writing something new, and I'm thinking right, I'm going to perform this at the next one and the next one, and then I got into Central Arts then as well. And John and Kira approached me to curate a spoken word event last summer. For Summer in the City. So I did 2 of those outside the Theatre Royal in June and July, and it's just been building up and building up all throughout last year. And the more gigs I do, I feel the more kind of exposure I'm getting, and the more confidence I'm getting as well. And also, you know, with more confidence, I'm with kind of knowing that people know you from doing gigs in the Rogue or ModWords. They kind of become accustomed to your style, and they kind of become accustomed to you, so you can kind of experiment with certain topics as well. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. And then obviously I had my first play on in July, and that was just like unreal. Just like to actually have a play on in the Theatre Royal. Like it was only 15 minutes, like, but it was just like that was just like such a highlight for me. And yeah, so it's kind of been building and building and building and building. I would have done like about 30 gigs last year, open mic gigs, and you know, I'm just obsessed with it now, and it's the feeling of getting up there in front of people, and it's a very kind of vulnerable platform as well. Because I remember discussing this with Mark and Kieran when I was doing the Sound Up sessions there a while ago, in that when you do a spoken word, it's basically just you and your words and a phone, and there's nothing to kind of really hide behind. And when I write stuff, I don't kind of filter anything really. It's just it just comes from there, and so it's very kind of, you know, if it's how I'm feeling or how I think about a subject, I will write it, and I won't kind of think to myself, right, maybe I shouldn't say that, or maybe, you know, obviously there's things you can't say, you know, you can't be like Donald Trump, right? You know what I mean? But I would look at some stuff, I think, can I say that? I'm like, actually, I can't say that. You know, I would say that to anyone that wants to start off spoken word. Don't be frightened of kind of putting yourself out there, and you know, even tackling stuff that is kind of taboo, like, you know, I mean, I'm kind of known for doing kind of humorous poems as well, but also like I do touch on politics and mental health, sex, like being a gay man in modern society. So I do touch on stuff like that, the homeless crisis, stuff that's going on in the world, but also I can kind of deal the kind of funny ones that are kind of relatable to people, like going out in the town in Waterford, name dropping certain things in Waterford that people will kind of relate to. So yes, so it's been crazy. The last year has just been kind of like, I wouldn't like, if you had told me 2 years ago that I'd be kind of like getting a kind of a name as a spoken word act in Waterford, I would have been like I said, not a chance. There's more chance we having a three-way with Mark Walsh and Kieran Delaney. But yeah, it's here we are. And speaking of Mark and Kieran, the Sound Up sessions then started back in February, and that was my first ever spoken word gig in a pub, which was very, very scary, in Cathy Barry's. And Jason Dalton organised that, and he asked me to do it. And so we've only done two nights since everything, and yeah, they've gone down pretty well. It is nerve wracking, you know, because a pub would not be a natural environment for spoken word, really. But people have been kind of very generous, and they would listen, and it's just like how you adapt to that situation as well. I mean, Mark and Kieran can sing away and play away, and people will knock back drink and join in. But like when you get up there in a packed pub on a Thursday night and start talking from a phone, it's like it's very nerve wracking. But I think it just helps you kind of grow as a person, kind of grow as a performer as well. So it's all practice really. But yeah, I have there's a couple of plans afoot yet. I'm still a man on a mission, so we're going to see how things pan out now, and hopefully get back to Dublin and maybe do a few gigs up there. The book, I have a book written. It's ready to go. It's ready to go as of this week. 20 poems. I've gotten a title. I've gotten a cover. I've got a concept for a cover that Hayley Stewart was going to show for me. Please God. So now I just need someone to publish the book, which is a bit daunting, but still early days. There's no rush. I have the poems picked out. I think the 20 are probably the best representation of me, and the best representation of kind of what I can do and what I stand for, I think. And yeah, that's the next step now, is getting someone to publish this thing. I'm just kind of researching the options and all that. But yeah, if all goes well, I would like to have it out this year. That's the dream, is have it out this year. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's written now. The manuscript is written. It's ready to go, and now we just have to find someone who can say, listen, I'll publish that, and away you go. So yeah, touch wood, that'll all come to fruition. Yeah.
Or don't touch too much wood, because you'll be too distracted to actually.
Well, wood is the only thing I'm touching at the moment, Rebecca. It's terrible. Self-isolation is great, isn't it?
Yeah, self-extraction.
Yeah. We might do a poem about that, actually, about getting wood. Yeah.
There we are, inspiring people.
A prompt, yeah. Prompt.
The first time I saw you doing spoken word, you did a Facebook based one. And in recent times with quarantine, you've actually reinvented that for the times. And I wanted to ask, would you like to share that today?
Yes, I will indeed. Yeah, so one of the pieces I'm kind of known for, like anyone that kind of sees me around the place, I do a poem called Friend Request, which is like it's like a piss take of Facebook, because Facebook can be very, it's very inane, Facebook, but it has its uses, but it's also great for like a bit of unintentional comedy as well. Like I'm sure like you'd gather inspiration off Facebook for like routines. So I did a poem called Friend Request, and I've noticed since we've all been in self-isolation that like Facebook the last 3 weeks has been very intense. It's like calm down. It's like calm down. It's funny at the same time to watch, and then other times it's like, okay, I might have to mute this person for 30 days, because it's just like it's very full on, But like that's the times we live in. Yeah, I wrote a poem called Quarantine, and it's basically about like Facebook during the lockdown. So I'm going to perform this now. This is called Quarantine. Barry is keeping everyone updated on his quarantine as if he's on the reality show Survivor, even though he's only been stuck in the house for 2 days with his 20 cats and a dog that never stops shitting. Owen is continuously commenting underneath WLR news articles as if he's Lord Waterford. Jennifer is running another Facebook live stream so she can murder more classic songs in front of 3 viewers. Danielle thinks she's Mary Berry because she's been stuck in the house a week and managed to bake a tray of Rice Krispie cakes. 3 of her friends have asked her for the recipe. Jake has delayed the release of his forthcoming EP because of the virus, even though no one really gave a shit in the first place. Sandra is giving tips on how to keep the kids occupied, including wrapping an empty Coke bottle in tin foil and telling the kids it's a castle. Sandra seems to think she's on a Blue Peter presenter. Decky and Eamon are telling anyone that'll listen that it's all a 5G related conspiracy theory, but nobody is taking either person seriously because they're renowned stoners. Lorraine thinks she's gas because she's put up a meme about Corona beer. Lorraine is a local dose. Will is telling everyone he'll happily drop off groceries even though he has no insurance on his car. Martin is telling everyone the virus would never have gotten in if Sinn Féin had got into government. Brenda is seething because nobody is adhering to social distancing when the same one went into Tesco 3 weeks ago and knocked two elderly women out of the way to get 3 bottles of disinfectant, all whilst coughing on a man in a wheelchair. Shannon is doing online makeup tutorials, even though most people are only going as far as Tesco, and has told them they can use bleach on their hands. Paul is wondering when the hairdressers will be back open, even though he's had the same hairstyle as Brian May for the past 20 years and hasn't washed it in 30. Mags is telling everyone to shop local when this is all over, when most days she's showing everyone her haul from her latest shopping trip in Dublin. Buy local, she posts, even though her new jumpsuit definitely wasn't bought in Swamp. Tommy thinks he's some sort of martyr because he's telling everyone to stay away from the pubs, even though he lives in the Lantern 7 nights a week. Tina has had enough of it all and mutes the entire network, just as her mate Claire posts a video of John Lennon singing Imagine. Tina tuts to herself as she logs out. Imagine if you all just shut the fuck up and just get on with it. There you go now. That's quarantine. Thank you.
I love that piece. It's so relatable. It pretty much
Yeah.
touches on everyone on Facebook right now. You have every category
Yeah.
pinned,
But it's
and
so funny, like it's so like Facebook can be very funny on a day-to-day basis anyway, but like during the pandemic it's just been like it's just hilarious, like, and it's not to downplay, we'd say, if people are like very anxious over stuff or have their own views on things, that's I'm not taking the piss out of that. It's just the kind of general hysteria on Facebook of people in self-isolation and they're putting up like literally random stuff, and it's crazy and it's hilarious at the same time. And then of course there is kind of people that are like, okay, might need to mute that for a couple of days. Okay, there's a lot of death and statistics going around. Maybe I don't really want to see how some kind of fake news about how the virus can kind of come to you in your sleep or something. Because people will put up the most random stuff from anywhere, and yeah, I wrote that last week, and I was like, right, yeah, let's kind of take the piss out of this a little bit and kind of humor it up a bit, because everyone is like just like everyone's in a heap right now, so let's kind of like lighten the mood and lighten the mood and have a day off from it all.
yeah, and you have that natural ability to make people laugh. I think it's a defense mechanism a lot of us develop when we're
Yeah,
in an
yeah,
insecure or anxious environment.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think it's yeah. Oh, definitely, it's definitely been a defense mechanism for me. And always will be. But yeah, I have noticed like there is a kind of a humor to some of the stuff I do, and it's kind of easy for me to put it off. I think because I think since I kind of recovered from everything I went through with the panic attacks, the agoraphobia, I'm a little bit more brazen, as a person, a little bit more kind of brazen, without kind of being offensive. I hope not, but like just a little bit more brazen, and just kind of thinking to yourself, well, hang on, let's kind of spice this up a bit. Let's kind of see what kind of reaction we can get here in a good way. You know what I mean? Like not in a kind of not a reaction for the sake of getting a reaction. All reaction is good reaction. For me personally, I would hate the worst comment someone could give me would be like, if someone saw me doing a spoken word gig, would be like, oh, he's very bland. Isn't he very bland? I'd be like, nah, that would be the worst thing. So I like to kind of humor it up, and then I can do the more serious stuff when I need to do it. I think it all depends on the gig. You kind of read the room, and if people have been on before you and they've done kind of pretty kind of hard hitting stuff, then I kind of think to myself, well, you know what? Let's kind of do the humor. Maybe throw in something that will kind of get people thinking as well, something social or political, get people thinking, but also kind of get something relatable that people can relate to, like something about Facebook or something pop culture related that people can kind of zone in on. So yeah, the humor, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying adding that into it, and I think obviously with Cathy Barry's as well, doing the gig in Cathy Barry's, I kind of feel I have to kind of keep it light and keep it funny, because in a pub on a Thursday night, people are out having a few drinks. It's the pre-weekend. No one wants to hear poems about people want an escape when they're in the pub. They don't want to be confronted with what's going on in the world. So I try to keep it light and kind of stick to the ones about going out in Waterford and stuff like that, and ones that'll get the laugh. And I kind of have to MC it as well. So you have to kind of bring in a little bit of comedy and find someone that's drunk in the crowd that you can kind of bounce off it, which I did with Nancy the first night. You know, without being kind of offensive to them, but like just find somebody you can kind of zone in on and bounce off them and kind of mention them throughout the night, and then you're kind of home and dry really after that.
Yeah, it is about learning how to bounce off the people around you in order to get your,
Mm,
especially as an MC or as a comedian, that funny energy, excuse me, that funny energy and how you play around with it is
yeah,
very important. Yeah, but your words are really powerful. Adding comedy to that is really interesting because comedy automatically makes people think. There's something incredibly powerful in that. You know, it's
yeah,
like every big comedian ever came up with these incredible concepts and made people think. That's what comedy's there
mm,
to do. So the fact that you can amalgamate your spoken
yeah,
word and your comedy, that's
yeah. I mean, I have a new piece at the moment that will kind of delve into mental health, and it's kind of like no, I haven't had a chance to perform it that often, which I'll deal when everything's up and running again. But it's called Man About Town, and it's basically about a guy who, you know, when you hear the poem at first, you would, I think the initial reaction would be that people would laugh because it's explicit in places, you know, and then towards the end, then you see, oh, actually, this guy is kind of, this guy is actually suicidal, you know. So you can kind of, it's nice to be able to kind of get people laughing, because if you get them laughing, then they're going to stick with you, and then flip it on its head then at the end and go, oh, actually, there's a bit more depth in this than I was led to believe leading up to it. So I like being able to do that as well, and you know, give people the laugh, but then have them like then kind of grab it from them and go, oh, actually, this is actually a commentary on someone that's kind of, you know, in a bad place, you know. So it's nice to kind of not fool around, but it's nice to kind of mix things up like that as well, and just kind of mix up things because, you know, the humor will grab people like that and keep them listening. And then if you can put in a message like that, regarding mental health towards the end, you know, it'll stay with people, you know, because obviously like mental health is very important, and obviously you did mistaken DJ day. Men's mental health was like is a big thing right now, and you know, I think when all this is over and when all this passes, um, I think like a lot of people, men, women, kids, I think any age, I think there will be kind of like an almost kind of post-traumatic stress after all this. I think a lot of people will have, if they haven't already had mental health issues, I think they will be heightened by what's going on at the moment. So, like as I was saying to you earlier, like I would like to do something myself. When all this passes, like, you know, to help people that would, you know, because there will be a lot of people that won't have experienced anxiety or panic as intense as they would have felt it the last couple of weeks. And I think it's something that will become even more common as all this goes on, and when all this passes, I think a lot of people have will have kind of more issues with mental health. You know, it's only natural when you live through a pandemic, hopefully, and when you come out the other side of a pandemic, that people will have that kind of post-traumatic kind of, you know, thing attached to everything that's going on, which is only kind of natural, really. I think for me, as someone who's been through, you know, and you yourself, as people who've been through sort of mental health crises and issues, um, you know, we kind of have the experience, and also we have the platform to kind of go, look, we can do something, we can raise awareness here, or we can just kind of reach out to people and say, listen, I can, you know, being public about your mental health, it's not for everyone. You know, I'm quite public about what I've been through, and I know you're quite public. But you know, I think it's important to kind of reach out to people who might not be kind of as public, who might be kind of private, which is grand. But I think like during these times, like it's important to say to people, look, if you're feeling anxious or panicky about what's going on in the world, it's perfectly normal, and it's gonna feel perfectly normal when the pubs reopen and the shops reopen. Please God, in a few months' time, and we're all getting back to some sort of new normal. That, you know, it's fine to still be kind of in a certain headspace whereby you're frightened, you know. And I think that's what I want to do, through the spoken word and just through, you know, kind of just community work in Waterford, like because obviously like we both kind of know people through the scene, and so like just kind of raising awareness and like just kind of reaching out to people and saying, look, if you're suffering through this and after this, there are people that can kind of that you can talk to, and there are people that can kind of help you and put the arm around you and say, listen, um, you will be okay. It will pass. It might not pass today, it might not pass tomorrow, but it will pass. Just like this pandemic will, we hope will pass. We just have to you just have to knuckle down and put the work in, and just like not get kind of. I always say to people, don't get too overwhelmed by what's going on in the world right now. You can switch off from it. Like you can switch off the news, you can switch off Twitter, Facebook, get lost in like music like for hours on end. Or a book, or even just writing and recording something. You can just, but yeah, that's definitely something I want to kind of explore throughout this and after this, is kind of put that to use, put my own experience to use and say, listen, I've been there with panic attacks and anxiety and being scared to kind of go out. This is what I can do, and this is what I can, this is how I can help you. So, we're all in this together, as we say.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Mhm.
Absolutely every single one of us. One of the things that I discovered when I was doing Steak and DJ Day, for instance, was maybe the lack or the need for a toolkit. With
Yeah.
that toolkit, it would give different types of personalities a way. I've been talking to different psychologists and trying to get different people in different
Mm.
fields to help me with it. Um, it it's a lot of work, so I ended up just
Yeah.
doing an event. But it's something that
Yeah.
maybe you could rejig, because a toolkit
Yeah.
tailored to each person and the types of personalities out there, giving them ideas on how they can stop their brain, or how they can stop their
Yeah.
anxiety, or what they can do to change that moment. Even just like, it's like the saying I always have is, worrying's a lot like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. So
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And like it's interesting you mentioned like a toolkit, because like with mental health, like one size doesn't fit all. But me personally, if I was putting together a toolkit, like even just from my own experience, because I have gotten like one or two people over the last few weeks that will kind of message me and say like, how are you holding up like through all this, and and I'd give them advice, and I'd always say like if I was to give someone, we'd say a care package right now for someone that was kind of anxious or panicky about everything that's going on, I would say first thing, meditation is everything. Meditation is everything. Breathing is everything. So stuff like Headspace and Calm, like download those apps as well. Just even like for 5 or 10 minutes a day. I find CBD oil is just a godsend, an absolute godsend. Can be quite pricey, but like it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, because I know myself, like years ago I would have spent like hideous amounts of money on those little rescue remedies you get in chemists, and like they don't work. They don't work. So I would say, look, get a CBD oil, have it with you. um I think you can only take 12 drops a day, but like just have it there as a kind of a little comfort thing. Chamomile tea, which sounds like a basic thing to have, but I think chamomile tea is just kind of, you know, something like that. Just kind of, it just it calms your stomach, because anxiety, it starts in the stomach, that not in your stomach. So I would say chamomile tea, just to soothe your stomach. Now I know it's easy to get go the usual way and get alcohol, which is normal. We've all done it. But something like chamomile, it'll help you sleep then as well. Yeah, so CBD oil, chamomile, meditation, and I think like keeping yourself occupied, like even like just even something that just like online games or something like that, like even like stupid little apps, like an Angry Bird or something like that, that'll just kind of keep you, because when you're panicky and anxious, you can get kind of fidgety. I had that like for years ago, like I'd get fidgety, and I think something like that would just like take our mind off it. So, yeah, that for me would be kind of what I would put in kind of a care package. And music, like really good music, which again is kind of cliche talking to you because we're both managed music, but like really good music helps. Any music helps, but like whatever kind of, a playlist. I have my own playlist like that I would listen to, just to relax, and something like that you can listen to in bed, or listen to in bed, or even when you're kind of just needing a bit of time out. Just pick out like just the calmest, most soothing songs, and you don't have to be the depressing songs, but they would be songs that would kind of put you in a kind of relaxed kind of mood, and just and then just go from there. But yeah, I do think something like that, a toolkit is definitely essential for the times we're living in. I think we definitely need to kind of work. So people in general need to kind of work on getting something like that out there, and having that available to people as well.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And those are really, really great pieces of advice for anyone listening out there. I have similar coping mechanisms and different ones again, but they obviously work for me and they might not work for everyone. But I'm always very open and willing to talk to people about my journey
Yeah.
and how I fix things. So very similar to you. I think the more you grow as a person and the more you overcome, the more you understand that everyone's just on their own journey and nothing that they see or
Yeah.
perceive is actually their fault.
Mm. And I think there will be like, we're all kind of focusing on the negatives of what's going on at the moment, but I think like there are like a lot of positives to be taken as well, if you know where to look. And I think one positive thing that I hope and I think will come out of like the aftermath of all of this is that I think people in general will be I think people will be a lot kind of kinder to each other, I think, and not take things for granted, like basic things like going to the supermarket or going to the pub or going to the beach. I think people will kind of value the kind of non-important stuff, like people will value stuff like friendships and family a lot more, and I think they'll value people a lot more because we're nothing without people, you know. So I think that's one good thing that will come out of this, is that I think there'll be kind of a more kind of communal kind of spirit amongst people, that whereby, like, we all lived, we all will hopefully live through this and come out to the other side. And I think people will be a bit more kind of kinder to each other, and kind of, I think, build people up a bit more. I think, which I think is important. I think there is kind of a culture the last few years. I think it just comes from maybe social media or other factors, that we just kind of you kind of just be berate for the sake of berating. And yeah, I think that's one thing that will come out of this now, is that we'll value just the kind of the really important stuff. The superficial stuff is not going to be as valued anymore, I don't think. Which I think is only right, really. I think we still all be superficial in our own way. I think it's important to kind of have certain things, but I think there's things will definitely kind of change. There will be like a shift in people's mindsets towards life in general after this, I think. I hope so, anyway. But then you still get people who just kind of would be unfazed through anything, which is great as well. But
And you'll also have people who just see the negative in everything, and there's nothing we can do about that either. So
yeah, well, I think like people who are negative before this could still be negative afterwards. I think it's just kind of a mindset with people, really. But I think you can be negative, but you can be objective as well. Like, not everything has to be kind of tulips and buttercups and butterflies, but like, because that's not real life. But like, I think it is important to be kind of positive and kind of, if you're going to think negatively about everything, you're going to get negative outcomes. It's just basic maths, isn't it? Like, if you're going to think this is negative, or if you're going to think a situation is negative, it's always going to be negative. You're going to get a negative outcome. So you're kind of therapy talk. You're kind of what's the word? Predictive thinking. So yeah, I would hope people will kind of be in general kind of enjoy life a bit more after all this. I think most people will. I think Irish people in general are kind of like that anyway. Whatever. I think Irish people in general are kind of have that kind of ability to enjoy life and not take ourselves or our life too seriously. I think that's one good thing that'll come out of this as well. Yeah.
I agree completely. Now I have two more questions to go, and then I leave you off. But I usually ask people what was the first piece of music they fell in love with, but I've decided to change that for you. I want to know
Yeah.
what the first poem or book you fell in love with was, and how it created what you are in you.
Um. I think the first book I fell in love with, I think probably the book that's probably had the biggest influence on me is by a water writer, Sean Dunn. Now, Sean Dunn was reared in Johns Park. My dad is from Johns Park, and I would have kind of grown up in Johns Park, the Naked City, as it's known. And when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a writer. And he lived, Sean Dunn, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he wrote a book called In My Father's House, which is like a memoir of growing up in Waterford, back in I think the 60s. I don't know, but it's a childhood in Waterford, and it always had a close place to my heart because his he would have lived 3 doors down from my nanny, and his brother. You probably know his brother. His brother is Aidan Dunn, who's a local artist in the Royal Gallery. Aidan is a lovely man. And so Sean was his brother, and so Sean wrote that book, and my grandmother was even mentioned in the book. We always get a laugh out of this. My nanny was mentioned in the book, when Sean recounts how his mother passed away when he was really young. So that book had a big influence on me, just because it's very Waterford, and because I would have kind of grown up in Johns Park. I have links to Johns Park. My dad is from there. I would have spent a lot of time there growing up as a kid. So I think that was kind of a book that still means a lot to me. And it was kind of the book where I thought to myself, well, actually, if someone from Waterford, from Johns Park, can write a book, then and can write and make a career of it, then maybe this is for me. So that book definitely, to this day, that still has like a huge influence on me. And it's kind of surreal, like even seeing like Aidan around Waterford, because you'd always see Aidan done around Waterford, but just knowing, like, I see him, and like, I find it hard to separate him from the person in the book, even though they're the same person. And it's just an incredible kind of like memoir of a time in Waterford. Like, it's a really kind of it's just a beautiful book, beautiful writer.
Wow. Obviously with my dyslexia, reading is difficult, but I'm definitely going to try that one out, It sounds very interesting, and it's great to have a book that kind of showcases Waterford's history as well.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's a. They stopped publishing it years ago, so it is very hard to come by. But I think he's got poetry collections out and stuff like that. But yeah, that would be the book that maybe want to kind of write, definitely.
Wow. And then, just because ordinarily Viking Promotions deal only with music, but the weird
Mm.
times that are going on now made me want to reach out to all the arts. What
Mm.
are the songs you're listening to at the moment?
So at the moment, what have I got stuck on repeat? See, I would, as I said, I listen to everything. So I'm loving Chrome Yellow's new one, number 9, because I love the lads. So I love number 9, and I love 2.0. I think they're just two of the best tracks that they've done to date. So yeah, I'm hooked on both those tracks. So on a local level, Chrome Yellow, Toig's song, I'm still obsessed with that. I think it actually has a lot more meaning. I think with everything that's going on, it's a lot more poignant. SX2's new album, I think, is fantastic. Like, I won't be a big dance head, but that album is just like, just for the times we're living in right now, just for a bit of escapism, it's just a brilliant album. And then in general, then I'm loving Dua Lipa's new album, because I love a bit of pop. I'm obsessed with that new album. The Weeknd's new album, I think, is fantastic. I'm loving Haim. I always get the name wrong. Is it Haim? The Three Sisters from America.
I
Um,
think
um,
so.
yeah, I'm loving their stuff at the moment. Jessie Ware, who's like a British kind of soul singer. I love her stuff. And then I'm kind of revisiting kind of stuff that I would have listened to years ago, but kind of feels a bit more kind of appropriate to listen to now. So like REM are actually my favorite band of all time. So I've been listening.
Oh,
Yeah. So I've been listening to them on repeat. Just revisiting the back catalogue of them the last couple of weeks, and obviously I've been playing "It's the End of the World as We Know It" a lot. Frank Ocean as well. I've been listening to him a lot lately as well. I love Frank Ocean. Yeah, so listen to a lot of that lately. Yeah, that's what I kind of currently have on, kind of stuck on repeat at the moment. Yeah.
that's amazing. I didn't know about REM. They were an incredible band. What's your
Oh
favorite
yeah.
REM song of all time?
Oh, my favorite REM song of all time would be "Strange Currencies," which was a single off Monster. which was the album that came after the Massive Automatic for the People. That album is actually a fantastic album, and actually there's a great song on it that was written about Kurt Cobain called "Let Me In," which was written about Kurt Cobain's suicide, I believe. I think it's like a tribute to Kurt Cobain, but it's called "Let Me In." But yeah, the song called "Strange Currencies," and not one of their best known songs. It was a single. It's just a gorgeous song. So that would be my favorite REM song. It's hard to pick one, but that one is just a gorgeous song. It's like my ultimate kind of love song as well. Yeah, so yeah, I could listen to REM for hours on end, and I normally do. But yeah, Strange Currencies from the Monster album is definitely one I would recommend. Or Ebo the Letter from New Adventures in Hi-Fi. Just because Patti Smith is on that, her vocals on that are just amazing. Ebo the Letter, that's like a gorgeous track. So yeah, anything REM related, but especially Strange Currencies, it's just like a gorgeous song.
Well, I'm going to use those as your recommendations on the Viking page
Mm-hmm.
today and share your music knowledge. I want to take this moment to thank you so much for your time in this interview and urge everyone who's enjoyed the interview not just to subscribe to the Viking Promotions page, because I've done 15 interviews so far and they're all as interesting as each other and bringing different. It's just kind of like meeting people, and that's what I want to do. But I want to show people, But I also want you to listen to Wayne's podcast because it's amazing. And his spoken word that's about to come is just as incredible. So, Wayne, just take this opportunity to say goodbye to everyone and I'll stop recording.
Yeah, so if you want to check out the podcast, Sound Up, it's on Spotify. Just type in Sound Up. And Wayne Power Poetry, again, type it up in Facebook. I've got a few poems up there. And keep supporting Viking Promotions. Keep buying our merchandise and all that. And September, I think, is the
September 26th, we're going to have the first
26th.
Viking Promotions under my banner.
And yeah, thank you very much, Rebecca, and thank you for having me on. And keep doing what you're doing.
You too. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm just going to
Yeah,
stop the
you mind
record.
yourself. Mwah.